Yep. And we are live, everyone. Welcome to the podcast telephone experience. Sort of like the Joe Rogan experience, except for it's not about Joe Rogan or anything that he talks about. Well,
yeah. Well, it might.
Oh, hey, look, it's Nick, everybody. What's up? This is Nick Evans.
We're on.
We're on. We're here.
Yeah,
That's right. We're live. Yeah. We were sitting here talking this whole time, and we totally forgot that we just hit the live button.
Doing lip exercises.
Just sitting here chatting. If you haven't tracked yet, there's a whole bunch of stuff tagged in this post. It's because those are all the things that matter in life. I mean, there's other things that matter, of course, but you should listen to those things. Families, dogs, stuff. Today we're going to talk about stuff. We're going to talk about family. Nick is going to talk about his hair. Nick, have you recently had a haircut?
No, but I'm definitely going to get one.
Whoa!
It's...
Holy cow!
Yeah.
It's like Keanu Reeves, man.
Yeah, dude.
Nick has this, you guys are missing it, but it's like this mohawk type thing.
Yep.
It's pretty hilarious. It's, what are you going for? What?
It's coming off, man.
You ever seen that?
My hair is just unnaturally wavy and ridiculous.
Have you seen that Zach Galifianakis bit? Where he's like standing on stage and he goes, you know, somebody was like, he went to the barber and he goes, give me the rapist, and his hair looks atrocious. He's like, no, give me the 15-year-old child molester. No, give me the 12-year-old high school coach. You know, he keeps going through these.
Why are we saying these?
Why are we saying this? It's hilarious. We're all talking about Nick's hair. My hair, since we're talking about it, is getting exceptionally long. I normally buzz it. I've been doing this thing where...
I'm going to go back to trimming this up.
Are you?
And go into the fade.
I want to be real with you. This is love. But the ponytail thing, I abandoned it, man. I let it go.
Yeah, it's hard to control for me. I wanted it. I did want it. Yeah. But my hair just unnaturally doesn't sit that way, man.
Oh, man. Yeah. Dude, I was at a gas station. I was on the corner. It doesn't matter to anybody listening unless you live in Omaha, but it was in South Omaha. And this guy wearing a Burger King uniform walked out with a big bag of trash, and he had a big man bun, a big ponytail, and I was just like, oh man, I don't know that's. I went home that day and I trimmed my son Nathan. I trimmed his hair and I trimmed my hair, and I was like, this is it. I can't have it anymore. Not that, okay. Listen, it doesn't mean that it's beneath me and I'm some sort of, you know, upper echelon person. By any means, I'm not. But it was like a sign for me. You know, it was like, I got to do it. And it's like when I remember that I saw Chandler from Friends got a goatee, and I was like, I've either got to get a beard or shave all this off because I can't be like Chandler.
Yeah.
I can't be like Chandler. All right, Nick, talk to me. Say some words, man.
Yeah, I agree with the hair, though.
You agree with the hair? Are you cutting your hair? You gonna do it?
Yeah, I just don't know what to do with it.
You should just shave it. Look, Nick and I are into jiu-jitsu because it helps with our PTSD, and it helps a lot. If you're not, you should be. If you're physically capable of doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you should go do it. You're a dummy if you don't.
Fun.
It's fun. It's amazing. Dude, it's amazing. It's amazing.
I haven't done it for a little bit.
Well, that's your fault.
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
But,
look, at least I have an excuse. I had this bone taken out of my face hole.
Yeah.
It sucked, you guys.
I'm about to have one taken
out of my
face hole.
Yeah. Are you really?
Yeah.
Well, who's doing it? I had the VA.
I don't know yet.
The VA cut on my face, you guys. No?
I'm not going to the VA, dude. I purposely got dental insurance at work. Just dental insurance.
Just for that reason.
Vision and dental at work just for that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I haven't gone to jiu-jitsu for that reason. And then I started taking these friggin' antibiotics, and I don't know, you guys. I'm fairly convinced that they have messed up my system. I got this rash on my leg. It hurts like hell. Man. Oh my God, it's killing me. And I just don't like it. I don't appreciate the medicine, and I had to take buckets of Motrin and ibuprofen just to function.
Let's just make that clear.
Yeah, I think
they are super terrible for human beings.
What's that?
Those medicines.
The medicines?
Those things.
The antibiotics, amoxicillin. I mean, some of those things save people's lives, Nicholas.
Yes.
You got to remember that.
I kind of do agree, yes.
But, I mean, we're not just pissing on pharmaceuticals, but I agree that we shouldn't be on that crap.
Western medicine is a thing, and it's great. We all accept that and know
Yeah, like I have 6 children, and if it wasn't for Western modern day medicine, my wife might be very well
Jim
dead.
Jeffries, we live in a society.
We live in a society. We're not animals. We live in a society.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's stop quoting comedians and get to the point here. First of all, I want to read a comment real quick from Jacob Griffick. Hey, Uncle Timmy, we haven't talked in a really long time. I just want to tell you that I'm a Navy corpsman going through a course that will allow me to go with the Marines. Wow. Well, Jacob, you are a compatriot, a fellow friend, and hopefully soon to be veteran. I say hopefully just because I hope that your time in the military is ended shorter than sooner so that you can be safe, because I care for you, Jacob. Jacob is actually my half-sister's son. That's kind of cool. Jacob, I hope you keep listening, man. Stay focused. Don't do drugs, and hide them well. I'm joking. Don't do drugs.
You're awesome, man.
Yeah, don't do drugs.
Don't forget that.
Absolutely. That's what's important, man. Because it's really easy to get lonely and you just get isolated. And you get into this.
Sometimes you isolate yourself, and people are like, "Hey, what are you doing, bro?"
Like, why are you being a jerk? Yeah. I can't tell you the number of people, Nick, that have come back to me and told me about, why did you run away from me, or why haven't you called me in months?
Yeah.
And in my mind, I've created some sort of offense, some sort of something that is not even really there.
Right.
And I've just ruined relationships. And I'll guarantee you that if I call some of these cats, I'll be like, "Hey, que pasa? What's up, man?" I bet you a lot of them would just be right as rain.
But that's the thing about military camaraderie.
Yeah.
Veterans and military combined. It's great.
Also, it's cold in this room that we're in.
It is.
It just got exceptionally colder.
It's all good.
It's all good.
It's all good.
We are up in a upstairs room of a really, really old house that we've been spending some time in. But back to the subjects at hand. Part of the stuff is Veterans for Natural Rights. If you've not visited the Facebook page for Veterans for Natural Rights, you should, especially if you're an adult human being, and especially if you're an adult human being who has a DD-214, or if you know what one is and you don't have one yet and you're still active duty like my homie, like my nephew here, Jacob. It's still interesting. It still has some valid stuff. It's something you're going to be experiencing if you're active duty. It's something that if you know somebody who's a veteran, they're going through this. They've gone through this. and the fact is, if they haven't gone through it, they're gonna soon. If they haven't dealt with the VA garbage, all the disability stuff, all the coming to grips with the fact that you're not what you used to be, that's a real thing, man. And I think that civilians take it for granted. Civilians, by and large, people that have never served in the military, they definitely take it for granted how hard it is to become a frickin' civilian again. How hard it is to not be recognized or identified by the service that we give to the military.
But even that concept, people struggle with that just because we're all humans, right? And it's like, it's really no different. That was just a job and a lifestyle temporarily. But those things are kind of hard to hear, and we get that civilians don't understand the things that we might be discussing or going through. But ultimately, we are human beings, and we do matter, all of us together, and we should be, taking care of ourselves, doing the right things, making right choices, helping each other out is definitely a big one, because too many veterans are committing suicide as well. So, and those numbers are even emulated through active duty. I mean, there's a lot of active duty people that are committing suicide as well. So
it's crazy. It's crazy, dude. Why isn't this such a bigger thing? Why? Why is it that we're the maniacs when we say veterans are killing themselves in exceptionally high numbers? Why is it that we're the maniacs? Why, Nick?
And active duty members.
Right, and active duty and spouses from secondary PTSD. Why is it that we're crazy for talking about it? I don't understand why it's like we're the only ones saying these loud words. I mean, we're not the only ones. I really appreciate the homies. People like Jose and Matt and I mean, I could mention dozens of other people who have advocated for veterans for natural rights, and for veterans to have access and safe access to all sorts of different things.
So, what comes to mind when you think of the term or phrase Veterans for Natural Rights or natural rights? Like, what do you think?
I mean, the idea is that rights. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's really tough because, you've got rights that come from the Constitution, rights that come from the deity that many people call God, that I personally identified with that. I do. As a human being, I feel like it's impossible for me to deny the existence of a bigger thing upstairs that made me and made this world. It's tough to deny, okay? The evidence is just really in the favor of where I sit currently. That's my opinion. Opinions are amazing because everybody can have one. They can share them and they can be absolutely, completely different, adverse, even contrary, right? Water and oil kind of thing.
Right.
But they can exist. They can exist not just like, well, I'll tolerate you, but they can actually exist like, I love you. Like, I really do. And it doesn't in any way have to take away from my beliefs, man. Right? Like, I can kick it with a pagan perfectly fine as much as I can with a Christian.
Right.
Actually, in my experience, sometimes it's much more difficult to kick it with a Christian just because of sometimes the judgy nature that Christians take on. I'm just being real. But natural rights, right? The idea that, like, because when I was in a Christian church, when I spent a lot more time doing what a lot of people call the American Christian faith, it was easier to answer that question. Well, rights, nobody has rights. We're dead to our rights. We're alive in Christ and dead to our rights is what they used to say, right? And so it's like, okay, well, what does that mean? I mean, I understand. I took theology class. I know those things.
Right.
I could define them and probably talk about them and stuff. That's no problem. I get that. I'm there. But what I don't understand sometimes is how clearly avoiding that answer is. Like, here's the problem, and they're just going, whoop. What you can't see is I'm going around one thing to get to the other. I'm not actually dealing with the problem. So I know I really haven't answered. I've sort of complained about how other people answered, which is sort of a stupid way of answering. So I'm going to try to get to it. Like, what his question was, repeat the question, Nick, because I'm an idiot.
What comes to mind when you think of Veterans for Natural Rights? The term phrase.
What comes to mind? Well, first for me is spooning with Matt Cale in Colorado. I mean, that's the first.
That's great things. I've sat on his couch a couple times right next to him as he's falling asleep.
No, I'm joking. Matt Cale is a good friend who founded an organization which is wonderful called Veterans for Natural Rights. That's not what this is about, although it is. We're talking about the phrase, the statement.
All right,
okay.
What about natural rights?
Yeah, natural rights. So
as a human being,
right,
we all have natural rights. As far as
what does that mean, and how does that look?
Take care of yourself and the natural rights of living.
Right.
Organizing things and managing.
Let me rephrase. Let me answer by asking: Is there ever a right for a government to tell a person that they aren't allowed to consume a substance? Is there ever a time when it should be allowed that an individual should be told they can't consume any substance? This isn't about a particular substance, so nobody gets your situations in a situation twist. Okay, calm down. This is a very, very figurative question, and if you guys can't handle these kind of figurative discussions, please push pause, but then push play again right after, because I'd like you to keep on listening.
Right.
For more information about the advocacy work that we do here in Omaha or nationwide, please visit boristheservicedog.com, or you can also visit of course, the website for the organization that we referenced earlier, founded by my friend Matt Cale, who I spooned with in Divide, Colorado, called Veterans for Natural Rights. Again, the question that Nick asked was,
what are your thoughts when the term Veterans for Natural Rights comes to mind?
Okay, but more importantly, not the first word. The second one is natural rights.
Right. So we've been kind of discussing that.
We're just digging through what are natural rights.
What do you think of plant medicine when you think of natural rights?
I mean, I'm one of the crazy lunatics that I just feel like if you can. And this is unfortunately something that a lot of idiots say.
I want to be clear.
Wait, okay, sorry.
Multiple kinds of plant medicine.
I'm not saying Nick's an idiot.
Multiple kinds of plant medicine. I'm going to bypass that statement.
Okay, what I believe is this, okay? I believe that it's very difficult, and I'm going to sort of bypass and maybe, I don't know, I'm going to try to put the two together, I don't know. If there's not a victim, it's tough to call it a crime. Hey-oh. Ooh, that stings. Is that burn?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's right or wrong. It
good
just
burn.
seems right.
It's a good burn.
It seems right.
Yeah.
It seems right. And so,
Well, I wanted to say, like, government is good, but when
to a
you
degree,
talk about...
I appreciate.
to a
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't want. I
There
don't.
should be speed limits. There
I
should
want-
be laws about seatbelts. There should be laws
Yes.
about safety.
If
There should
someone
be laws
is-
about humanity.
Correct. If
Safety
someone
and stuff.
if someone is hurting my family,
Yeah.
and I'm unable to help or
It
do
should
something,
be done about...
I want to
within
be
the
able to.
governance.
I want to
Like,
be able to call
Yeah.
the local magistrate
Yeah,
and have them
attack.
help me. Right?
Respect my authority.
Jeez, Nick. He's looking for every opportunity to become a 7th grader again. All over.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
messing around.
But I do, you know what I mean? Like, I've got a lot of police officer friends who do hard work, man.
We do,
That's
yeah.
tough work, dude. That's tough.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, because of the legislative legal implications of some of these substances or plants, it's tough to talk about them. It's tough to talk about your opinions about them. Right? Because then you're that guy who has that opinion. You're not just that guy. Right now, I'm sort of the guy with the dog. Right?
But what about...
But then
when
I'm the
we
guy
were
with the
working-
dog who thinks that it's okay for people to grow poppy in their backyard and then make their own natural opiate-based painkillers out of tea in order to heal themselves. Whoa, Tim, are you talking about heroin?
Whoa.
Whoa. Next thing you know, Tim's with a needle.
Mushroom tea? Whoa.
Banging up his arm. I mean, like, look, guys, look.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
That's crazy talk. But can it happen? Yes. Does it happen?
Yes.
Across the universe or the world, it happens.
Universe. Nope.
Not
Totally
universe. I don't know if there's
Drink the tea,
intergalactic.
Tim, and it becomes a universe.
I don't know anything about that or anything about intergalactic poppy seeds. Planetary poppy mushroom.
Planetary.
Okay. I don't know anything about that. But what I do know is that
Beastie Boys song. Come on.
if it grows in my backyard naturally, if you have a farm in Papillion, Nebraska, natural cannabis is going to grow on your property.
Right?
If you don't do anything about it, it's going to grow there. It is. It's going to grow.
When the birds eat the seeds, they drop.
It's going to do it.
Yeah. Yep.
And so I just wonder at what point it's okay to say that's a bad thing. Because of its capability, it's a bad thing. It's the same argument, in my opinion, as the gun argument.
Right.
So here we go. Natural rights, I do believe there's some aspect of a right. Oh man, you guys are going to beat me up. This is Tim's personal opinion. These views do not say represent those of anyone else.
Association.
I'm
Great.
complicit through association. I think it's not a bad thing that independent, well-trained individual American citizens should be allowed and able to own and use firearms. I think that's a good thing.
It is.
I think that's a great thing, actually.
Just like using a computer.
It's no different. I mean, computers, if I threw one at your face...
Physical difference. Within concept.
I
though.
can't throw a computer at about 2,500 feet per second or whatever my
differences
Smith
between
&
a
Wesson
computer
shoots at.
and a gun. But, that...
And a lot of people are going to say guns are bad because of what they do, Tim. Tim, the guns are bad because of what they do. And it's like, no. People are atrocious morons who do stupid things with stupid stuff. Okay? I mean, there's got to be some kind of line somewhere, but I don't think that the United States government should draw that line. I don't. I do want the government because I appreciate them. I just don't want them to be able to say, you can't. I think that somebody should. And I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just making a big case for tribalism.
I don't know, but do you think... let's kind of dig into the VA a little bit because of
Why?
how
That's going to be a whole thing.
They are.
Well, but that's going to be a
But,
whole thing. I mean, natural rights. Okay, so let's talk about rights for a minute. Do I believe the veteran has a right to medical treatment? Yes.
Yes.
A right. Yes, absolutely. Do I believe the veteran has a right to safe access to good medicine? Yes. That is a right. Absolutely. Why? Because of the Constitution, because of the government, and because of the law of you give and you take, I don't know. That's a dumb law, that last thing. But mostly the Constitution. What's the question, Nick? Ask it. Shoot
Do you
it.
think the veterans should be able to vote or select care or medicines or the things like you walk in and all of a sudden, you know, because I find
It should be like Burger King, dude.
yeah,
I mean, to a degree, we should be. We aren't the doctors, and so we're not going to trust ourselves, right?
yeah.
But we should be able to walk in and say, here's the problem, here's all the solutions, and what are we going to do about it?
Well, I think that you should be able to go in and talk to someone on a comfortable level. You know, I find
Without feeling like we're going to lose our money.
yeah, I find that having to change doctors is crap, dude.
Yeah.
The fact that I have to continually change the confidence that I have in someone to give me either the mental care or the physical care or the medical care, I should be able to choose what I selectively want and need as
You don't feel like
as
you
a
can
human
right
being.
now?
I think that the process in doing it is difficult, and I
You think it's
that
any
it can
different in
be
the civilian
fixed.
world? I don't know. Somebody sound off who goes to civilian treatment right now and tell me if it's worse or better than the VA.
Well, the insurance world is also terrible as well.
Yeah.
Just because it's
Co-pays
expensive.
and everything, all
It's
the
expensive.
cash up front and everything.
It's just expensive, and insurance is good because you know things like that are good for human beings.
I've
but-
never paid for a single thing at the VA, which is a thing.
Yeah.
That's something to think about, guys. I've gone to a lot of treatment at the VA.
Yeah,
Probably hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Probably. So I know everybody likes to piss on the VA, and I will, by the way. If they're dumb and stupid and they keep being dumb and stupid, I'll keep saying that they're dumb and stupid. Or being dumb and stupid, to be clear. I will. I'll never stop. But I will actually praise them, and they do help my family survive. They're making sure that everything's all right, the disability and all that stuff. I mean, it's important, right? It's important to make sure that we're taking care of our family. It's important to make sure that we're not just being critical of it for no reason here, okay? So one of the questions that's really good to ask yourself is like, what are some of the things, like one or two of the things that your trauma has shaped dramatically in your life after war? That's a great question. So if you're a combat veteran, listen to this right now. That's my question. That's our question, Nick and I, is what are one or two of the things that your trauma has shaped dramatically in your life after war? So I can answer that question first, and then I'll let Nick answer. I have much less of a desire to go out and do public things than I used to. I used to be a very outgoing person, and it won't take much Googling or research to find out how much I used to do and what I used to do and stuff. And I used to do it a lot out in public, but I stopped just because my stuff started to kick in, my PTSD stuff, and it became a problem. It sucked, but yeah.
I think that can be, you know, universal. But for me,
Are you
never
just
really.
saying I'm a plain Jane?
No, not at all. That's a really big thing because I also agree. You know, like there's so many things. The question is, you know, one or a couple. I used to be really family oriented, you know, and I'm working on that now. But being family oriented was a really big thing for me. And coming back from overseas was a huge path to try and walk through and overcome. And another thing would probably come around to being like almost forgetfulness / learning disabilities. There's just certain things that I no longer do. Like I used to be learning to play guitar and that kind of thing, and I don't do it anymore, and I kind of forgot how to do it. You know, I kind of forgot like where to start and where to begin, some of the chords.
You think that's
some of the
just a
things.
result of the anxiety? I think a lot of times for me.
Well,
like,
figuring out like the trauma, figuring out the symptoms that I've gotten.
Yeah.
You know, like figuring that out in the core, I think is the biggest thing that this could be answered is figuring out the trauma has affected me in these ways. In huge.
how you view the world.
Yeah.
How you view the world is a thing. Like how
perspective and stuff.
I'm so much more of a pessimist and a nihilist than I used to be. I used to be way more optimistic. I used to not be the piss and vinegar. I was always obnoxiously so, by the way. I was a live DJ, you guys. Like, I was a guy. I was the guy at the party. I was loud. I was there. I was, big and bombastic. Literally fat. I was also huge. I was a fat guy. But for real, though, I mean, I lived a very, very loud, here I am life. Anybody that knows me knows that I was a very loud person. I was obnoxiously so. And after war really started kicking in, they say 3 to 7 years is delayed PTSD. So mine was about 4.5, 5 years later. It was like all of a sudden I was working this job. I was a gas station. I was a gas station, not just a gas station. It was a car wash. I don't want to say the name because their owners are terrible. They're atrocious human beings. I worked for them for almost 2 years, I think. I don't remember, but it was a gas station chain that sold food and was pretty big. It's still pretty big here in town, not as big as the other ones, but it rhymes with Smanismes. So you can figure out the name of it if you live here in Omaha. Anyway, I was a manager of 2 different stores. I started as a clerk, and I was such a go-getter. I just busted my ass and made it work, dude. I stepped it up, and I got to where I was a shift manager. And again, this is all after war, right? No drugs. I would use Excedrin. I was taking buckets of Excedrin and loperamide, which is anti-diarrheal. I had so much Monster. So much Monster. So much Monster. That's all I drank was Monster and anti-diarrheal and buckets of Excedrin and no push-ups. Dude, I couldn't have done 1 or 2 back to back. And I was probably smoking a little bit too, I think, and I was eating a lot of roller hot dogs because I worked at a gas station, dude. Buckets of Mountain Dew in my face hole all the time. And I was getting that Code Red stuff with the little syrup droppers. Yep. Oh gosh. I was
your
nasty.
Pores on a nice hot summer day.
Oh god. Ugh.
Yeah.
When I sweated, it smelled like death and cheese farts. It was gross, dude. It was nasty. But I was rocking and rolling. And I went from being a clerk to being an assistant manager or shift manager, then an assistant manager, then an hourly manager. So I was actually not hourly, but salary, right? And then I made it up to store. And I was like, yes, woohoo! And then I got this store and then another store, and we were doing 2 and blah, blah, blah. And it was just great. And then things just started not computing. It just wasn't working. It just stopped working right. And I started forgetting stuff. And I started getting in trouble. And things just weren't clicking. And all the momentum I had was gone. Right? Gone. Like I was waking up, dude. Like I was running 2 stores. So I was getting up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. When I was opening, which was 3 nights a week, or 3 days a week, I was getting up at 3:45 or 4 so that I could leave the house by 4:15 so I could get to the store by 5, 4:45, 5 so that I could have it. Oh, because I was a porter and I was the only one there. And I was actually... Well, either that or even worse, which was atrocious for a very long time. I was the store manager on the store out on 84th or 120th and Giles. You know which one I'm talking about. Yeah. Yep. Very, very far from the place I was living at the time. It was with my mom and dad in Bellevue. My wife and I lived in the basement. And, dude, I had to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning almost to get there. And this other gal that was working there, she was like the shift supervisor. And she sort of knew how to open everything and how to do all the work while I went into the bank and did all the money and got everything ready for the store on the back end. Hold on, I'm going to take a drink. Okay, I'm done taking a drink. Long story. It's a very important story, I promise. And she would get there like 15 minutes before me, and it didn't matter what time. Dude, I swear I could have gotten there at 2 o'clock in the morning, and she would have been there like 1:59. Like, what are you doing? Why aren't you here, Slagger? And then she'd call the boss, Lori. Oh, I said her name. Shoot. Ha! There you go. Her name's Lori. Good luck figuring out which chain she works for. But she'd call Lori. She'd text Lori every little thing I did, right? And I was working hard at the time. Very hard to get things right. And it just started slacking, and I started getting in trouble more and more and more. And then I got pulled in the office with the owner and the franchise owner and then the manager of managers, right? So it was like the 3 big people. And they were like
the general manager.
Yeah, like it was the big people. Like the one that owned, like the name of the chain is the name of the person that I met with, right? Ed was his first name. I'll let you guys keep doing math here. If you're Googling, which you're probably not, but that's okay. And they said, Tim, what is going on with you? They were like, you're not the same. Like, you used to be on the spot. Like, when I first came in, I'm going to gloat on myself for 2 seconds. They were impressed. Because when I first came to the interview, I was like, I'm going to dress to impress. I had no experience doing any of this stuff. But I was a clerk, and I was like, I'm going to try it. So I put on a black a black button-up shirt, and a black blazer, and black pants, and a gold tie, and I had my hair slicked back, and a nice high and tight with black shades, and I smelled like crappy Aspen cologne, and I had eaten 44 donuts and had a Monster that morning, and had the worst farts in the world. It was the worst farts in the whole wide world, you guys. It was so bad. It smelled like caramelized eggplants. You know, if you imagine eggplants, like raw eggplants, caramelized, and then stick them out in the sun for a month.
And then digest them.
And then digest them. And then let them sit in your gullet for a month. Let me just say, the vapors leaking from my butt was not good that day.
Horrible, man.
But the Aspen cologne that I sprayed all over my body just outdid it. It's okay.
No.
Yep, it was
why
good.
it smelled horrible.
The Aspen didn't make it any better. It was like, okay, now it smells like butt and cedar. Great, good job. So I walk into the interview and they're just impressed. They're like, oh, look at this guy. I just lied on my resume, I think. Just probably totally lied. Anyway, the moral of the story is, They were going to fire me, but I quit. I told them, I was like, I have to go to the doctor. And I did. That same day I went down and they had an MRI. And the MRI was this and was that. And I had what they later found out to be, what's it called?
CTE?
No, it's the migraines, but it's inside my head. So I'm having migraines, but they don't have the
cluster
symptoms.
migraines?
No, sub something rather. I forget what the name is right now. But regardless, the name of these migraines basically is they exhibit all the symptoms of a migraine without pain and without light sensitivity. So I get nauseous, hands shaky, vestibular migraines. That's the word, folks. Vestibular migraines. As a result of the minor TBI I had in the Iraq's place that I was hanging out in. And it started getting worse and worse and worse, and that was when the disability really kicked in. I found a lot of therapy and some other stuff, but I lost a job. That was the first real moment where it was like, I'm a disabled veteran. I came to grips with that fact that I'm broken. I'm not the same dude I used to be, And my family was aware of it way before I was, and it was a result of the way that they were being treated that something needed to happen, What about you? Did you ever have a time where something dramatically shifted or changed as a result of what you went through?
Yeah.
Or what's the
what's
the worst you can think of?
Well, when I got home, I just moved out and just did a bunch of drugs and drank a bunch of alcohol and moved out to California and did all that, and I was living in a motel and stuff and doing some crazy stuff that I was just trying to run away from because of the pain and the brokenness and all of that great but not so great.
Were you alone
stuff.
when you were going through this stuff? Or did you have any homies or family around or what?
I mean, yeah, but I kind of isolated myself just because most of my homies weren't veterans, and
they didn't really understand.
Most of the people that I deployed with kind of all broke off, and we all separated and went to different units, and then so I ended up just moving out to California.
So you pretty much alienated yourself.
Yeah.
And you said, I remember in past you said it was like going back to Afghanistan.
Yeah,
because it was so nasty and gross.
Well, I lived for a couple months. Was it because of the brown
people? Or?
No.
Because Nick's a racist.
No, I'm not a racist. Don't say that.
You don't
Do not say that. Don't say that.
Right,
don't say that. Nope. I'm not. Nope.
Oh, that's why. It's
I'm not racist.
All these brown people.
No.
No, it was because of the Apid Dare dry and terrible temperature.
So I spent a couple months living in LA, in a motel, and then it was in Culver City, kind of by Venice Beach.
You know, the only thing I know about Culver City is Everclear.
Yeah,
the band.
It's terrible. Yeah,
they did a song about that.
Yep. So I was getting drugs by if anyone knows the LA area, I was getting drugs over off of Rosecrans and Crenshaw. And I was living
He says with a straight bill hat on.
off of, yeah, no joke, camouflage. It says Cabela's too.
It's not straight bill. It's
And I'm
curved.
wearing a green V-neck with a gray little blazer looking thing and Under Armour sweatpants.
And back to you, Jim.
Yeah, yeah. So I walk in, yeah, white dude. Venice Beach, pretty much, you know.
Flip flops
And,
and bro tanks.
Yeah, and then I moved up to Palmdale.
Okay.
And that was high desert. That was where it looked like Afghanistan. That's where you were getting sandstorms. It was terrible.
How long did you spend there before you left?
4th of July was terrible. So I was out in California for a total of 1 year and like 2.5 months.
Did you learn anything while you were there?
I learned a lot about drugs.
That's about it. Just drugs.
No, I mean, I was doing a Christian thing.
So you met.
So I went like
you went with some
hardcore Christian.
hardcore.
I was trying to go to Grace University and
which
to,
is
like,
a local school here in Omaha.
No, I was trying to go to like where like if you're familiar with Christian people.
Okay.
You know,
John MacArthur.
John MacArthur. Yeah.
Oh, that Grace. Okay.
Yeah, so I was trying
Grace
to plan on
Bible
going
College,
there,
yeah.
and I was going to community college to raise my GPA in order to get in, which was working great. And then
And you
all
started
of a sudden,
doing
like,
drugs.
well, I got a job, and then like it was kitchen work, so I was working in a kitchen, got a lot of experience. It was cool. I was in the National Guard at the time, so I was drilling. I was in an aviation unit at the time, coming home, and
So basically, you're.
I was still in and not really facing the trauma, and not really facing the symptoms, not really acknowledging what was going on, and not really seeing it. And then I got broke, no money, and like I kind of just ran home with my tail between my legs, pretty much. And so I lived here for a while in my grandma's attic, you know, just kind of still isolated.
It's my new band name, by the way.
My grandma's attic.
My grandma now presenting my grandma's attic.
Yeah, it's got to be a Scottish punk band.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, for sure.
Staring out my window.
Bagpipes.
Oh yes. Oh,
Yeah.
bagpipes for sure.
Yeah.
Starting and ending every
And
song.
I would do a voice of Bon Scott for sure.
Excellent reference.
All right.
Okay, so you.
Now I was doing some rebuilding when I came here, trying to get financially stable, getting jobs, and
met a girl.
so
too.
like yeah,
you met a girl,
yeah,
which
met
is a big
April,
deal.
which is lovely, and I love you so much, April. Shout out.
Yeah. Gross.
Shout out Sunday. Hashtag. Yeah, I was trying to get some stability, and man, up until a certain point, like I used to be a really physical person, getting all the physical labor jobs, and I haven't really, you know, because I've been in a lot of physical pain too. So that's definitely negated my abilities to get the kind of job that I kind of want, you know, kind of need to get into again. And that's how my military career was very labor intensive, and then I come out and it's all painful and stuff, and my body hurts a lot, and I'm only 28, you know, get that. But yeah, there's been a lot of moments, even recently in, you know, like 2015, you know, just some alcoholism that was still going on. But once I got into the VA and started really struggling through some things and seeing like anger management for what it is, and like this is the first time that I've even seen a therapist for anything that's happened in my life. So like, man, even going in and trying to talk about the trauma in the military, but then like trauma in my childhood is coming up too. You know, it's a thing.
It's all connected, really. Like when you go
Yeah.
into therapy to talk about your brain and all the crap, like why you're being a butthead, you know.
Yeah.
Like I went to anger management.
Why
this
things
last
suck in your
Thursday,
pudding brain.
all that
Yeah.
stuff. The result is, how did you learn your anger? Who did you learn your anger from? That's what they go to. They didn't go to, what was war like for you, man? It was, what did your daddy do?
Yeah.
You know? So I think, there are definitely elements of of my childhood that affected me now. But at the same time, like, I don't know. It's odd that the VA recognizes that there's a lot of efficacy and value in treating the core issues. They see that. They see that if they just had a program talking about trauma from Iraq and Afghanistan and Vietnam and World War II and Korea, if they just did that, they would recognize that it wouldn't work, because that's not how trauma works. But I think what they haven't been able to do is bring, because that's their ideology, they haven't been able to bring their pharmacology along with that ideology. The ideology is the problem isn't the trauma. The problem's not the problem, right? The problem is the core, the root. The problem is, mom hurt, dad hurt, brother hurt,
Well, what's crazy is, like, I was still, before going to the VA, I was a Christian National Guard member who was on drugs.
Yeah. And so for you, there was a lot of moral pressure and stuff, yeah.
And then going to the VA, it's like, how do I talk about any of that, And I had to. But yeah, there was a lot of things that were traumatizing, even coming home, just being aware of.
So what is something that you remember from your time in the military that you took away from it that you value, that you think is actually valuable? Like some task, some skill, something.
I think, just as horrible as the deployment was, I think that the deployment was still beneficial, because it helped me become a man. Cliche moment, but yeah, it helped me become a man, and then, like, it taught me some things. But there was moments that were awesome too that I remember. So it was a lot of memories that were great, and a lot of action that was awesome. Some good stuff. And I learned some jobs, like learning how to work on a Humvee. Like, that stuff was really awesome. Learning, like, from engine to tail end of a Humvee inside and out, like what it does and how it operates, and then being able to drive it, that was really cool. But there was a lot of teamwork, and there was a lot of building up in the work ethic is really what I'm getting down to. The work ethic is really what I took out of the military, man.
I think something I can identify as negatively that I took from the military that still stuck with me and stick with me today is my obsessive compulsive need for order and control.
Yes.
My need to be the
right time at the right place in the right uniform.
Yeah, and I never am. I never am.
Oh yeah, it's a struggle, but
I mean, I am sometimes, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it's this inevitable drive and desire to be right, to be squared away.
Yeah.
And I never was. I was never a messed up soldier in the military, but I was never one. If somebody said that I did something, it would never surprise anyone, because I was a jackass. I acted stupid and loudmouthed and was foolish and young. But at the same time, I learned a lot. I took away a lot negatively from that.
All us white people do.
Right? Shut up. That's not true. I don't think everybody acts like a maniac just because they're white.
All white people, yeah. You're going to call me a racist.
Shut up. Oh, you're just going to generalize all white people?
I think that all white people are idiots.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just kidding.
That's like saying all dogs are service dogs. Speaking of dogs, for more information about the advocacy work that we do here in Omaha, or interested in service animal work altogether, please visit BorisTheServiceDog.com, or please visit Veterans for Natural Rights, one in Omaha and one nationally. You can find out more about the veterans advocacy work that we do, why we do it. Please take time to go to those pages. I know it seems arduous and difficult, but it's really worth it. BorisTheServiceDog.com, or Veterans for Natural Rights, or Veterans for Natural Rights Omaha. I ultimately feel like, by and large, what the most important aspect of my service that has helped me or allowed me to succeed after my time in service has been my eye on the horizon ability in the ruck marches. As an infantryman, I never did excellent, but I always made it. Almost
struggling through the suck.
Yes. Going through Hell Week and getting on the top of the hill.
Embracing the suck.
And when I was active duty, and I was stationed in Fort Drum, New York, I used to have to hike, Riva Ridge Loop, which was 6 miles up and 6 miles down. Just like Cudahy Hill, except that was like 8 miles up, 8 miles down or something.
Go.
But if you've seen Band of Brothers, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
But the idea was that it instilled in me this ability to look past my pain and look onto the horizon. And now, somebody that adopts more of a Taoist philosophy in life, that I don't have to concern myself with the temperature or the speed of the water. Instead, I just have to concern myself with being the stone in the creek. And if I can be the stone and be calm and be chill and let life and things pass by me and worry about that last, worry about what's moving past me last, I can stay calm. And I can really now do that, I think, as a result of having pushed through so many ruck marches and PT's tests and actual literal combat missions and things like that have helped me learn how to chill the hell out.
I think that's something that I kind of meant in my first statement. You know?
Yeah. Just like adopting that.
What I think is kind of like, even adopting it now is kind of a meditative state of mind, where you're kind of using the meditation to carry you through just the physical nature of whatever's going on, but also the mental. But it's helped me afterwards too to meditate and think on things and let my thoughts be thoughts, because sometimes my thoughts are just thoughts. It shouldn't affect how I succeed.
Like sometimes they just come and go.
Or how I work, or how I structure my days. So, something that, like, what are some things that would be ways in which you would take care of yourself after war, aligned with the whole idea of...
Yeah, I mean, like, food preparation is something I look highly on.
The trauma and everything, and the things that we're discussing now, and what are things to help you in your life after service. What are some things that I guess you would say right now that you're really good at, that you enjoy on a daily basis, that you succeed well with?
Yeah, I mean,
knowingly.
When I'm conscientious about it, making...
I want to be clear. Like, it could be anything from, like, cooking, cleaning, taking care of something minor, taking care of something major. Things that you're good at, that you're just like, bam, bam, bam.
When I'm conscientious of it, I can make lists and achieve them. And I like that. I think that if you're a Google product user and you're not using Google Keep, it's because you're sleeping. You need to not sleep on Google Keep. Google, I don't get paid by Google by any means, but I wish I did, because they make $1 gazillion.
Yeah.
But you should be using it, some kind of note-taking, list-keeping application on your smartphone. And if you don't have a smartphone, you should get a notepad.
I have both.
A Moleskine or something.
I'm using a bullet journal is what
bullet
I have.
Journal,
I mean, these questions are laid out, but bullet journal is very, very good to use. I highly suggest that platform.
Definitely, and it's something Tim Ferriss uses and talks about. Documenting my day helps a lot the day before. Like, I've already got a Google Keep note made that my wife and I put together for tomorrow. So I already know what's going to happen. Tomorrow I can check lists off. I can achieve things. It's about small goals. And if you're there now and you're thinking, that's not me, I've got a job and I've got a career and I've got my daily stuff and and you're not like me, who's disabled and doesn't really get around a whole bunch and you should start doing the smart things that I'm doing now too, so that you don't end up in a bad place also.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, I think that another veteran of, a veteran friend of ours, whoever it may be, should get a service dog if they don't have one already.
Sure.
Like, yeah.
Service dogs help immensely. And if you'd like more information about service animals or how to get a service dog, you can either go to BorisTheServiceDog.com and then from there search Dylan's Dog Training, or you can just go to RussDylan'sDogTraining.com. Go to Dylan'sDogTraining.com. Russ Dillon is the owner. He's a veteran himself. He was an Air Force dog handler, did some pretty badass, awesome stuff. He's a great guy and gives out these things. This organization, it's a nonprofit called Javelin, that they set up to help take donations to get these veterans service dogs. And I say these veterans, meaning me. I am sitting here staring at a big old black dog. His name is Boris, and he's pretty amazing. If you go to borisservicedog.com, you can see pictures of him and stuff. But they're like, he came to me for free, you guys, as a result of Dylan's dog training and the Javelin nonprofit organization. So please go search those things. It's exceptionally important. Veterans are getting free access.
I have a service dog through
Exactly.
him myself.
And your service dog's name is?
Sadie.
Sadie.
Yes, she's an amazing black lab.
Oh my God, she's a black lab
Mix.
too.
Yeah.
You guys, we have matching dogs. It's really weird.
She's shorter hair though.
She is, and she's a much more younger, spry dog.
Yeah.
I think Boris is like 2.5.
Very puppy.
Sadie's. Very. But I like it. I do. I like being around Sadie a lot. She's
Yeah.
a very...
She's only a year and a half old.
Oh my God.
So March is when she's a year and a half.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Super young.
Yeah, still pretty young, man.
Is she, and now, here goes, guys. Here's the question. Is your dog a service animal?
Being trained to be.
Being trained to be. And
Yes.
what task does your service animal provide?
She intervenes during
Nick's
critical
cheeks are
moments
glowing.
of PTSD.
Okay.
And recently, the diagnosis has changed at the VA hospital.
Like, you don't have to share your disability.
No, it's cool,
You know
man. Transparency.
Like,
is
when,
a
well,
thing, and
well,
it's
but
great.
at the same
But
time,
it's also
though,
great to know.
well, but hang on.
And
Before you finish telling
it
people your
helps with the
disability.
symptoms that are being told
Yeah.
at the VA hospital. And so now I'm being given the letter of, like, hey,
Well, but
the service animal.
According to the
can
ADA,
help.
man.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm
I
not
mean,
getting into that right now.
I'm saying, like, listen, like, if
You
somebody
asked a question, and I'm answering that specific question before we start getting into all
I'm saying,
that
if somebody
dilly-dilly.
says, okay, now you ask me. Go ahead. All right, I'm ready. Go ahead. Dude, ask me.
What?
Ask me about my dog. Go ahead.
Hey, ask me about my dog.
Oh, here it goes. This is the first time you're ever going to hear this. The last time. Okay, so go ahead and ask me the official questions. Is he a service animal? Yes.
Is he a service animal?
Yes, he is.
What service does he provide for?
He provides a service for me and my disabilities that I received as a
your
result.
dog smells really
As a
bad
result
right
of
now,
my
too.
time in service. That's what I say. So I say, and so this is a very blanketed, vague question. My dog helps me, and he does smell very bad, by the way. My dog does stink. He farted, and it's gross.
Whew. Yeah,
It's very
he's laying
foul.
right next to me too.
Very
Horrible.
nasty. My dog helps me with my disabilities I received as a result of my time in service or time in the military. And 85% of the people that I've met say, okay, no problem. And I'll tell you the truth, 3% of everybody I meet asks that question. And it's really only jerky, rude people that ask.
Right.
And 1 out of the 3 ask the right way. The other 2 say, is he even a service dog? Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then the 1 says, like, I was at a place that I won't mention that I've already thrown a lot of bad poo on, and I'm not going to do it anymore. They're a terrible place, and I hope they, don't have a successful fiscal year and go bankrupt or something. I was there, and they harassed me exceptionally bad and treated me like crap. And the question that he asked me, he was the only one. It's funny because he treated me like crap, but the manager actually did it the right way. He came up very calmly. I was with my dog. Which, by the way, if you look up the ADA website, the dog does not have to have a vest on at all. The dog, I do not have to have any documentation with me whatsoever. And the dog does not have to be on a leash at all. As long as the dog is well trained and obedient, the dog can be near me. Now, granted, my dog was wearing a vest. I do have documentation, and he was on a leash, so meow. And he says, is he a service dog? And I said, I looked down at the side of my dog's vest that said service dog. And I looked at him and I looked at the vest, literally, and I did it like 3 times, very obnoxiously. It took like 15 seconds each time. It was like really slow. Up and then down and then back up at his face. And then I look down really even closer and I look at the words and I mouth them as I'm spelling them, and my service dog. And then I look back at his face. I'm not kidding. And I'm like, yes, he's a service dog. And then he looks at me, kind of shifty, like he knows what I'm doing, and he's like, what service does he provide? And I wanted to punch him close to his larynx 3 times. But what I said and did instead was, yes, he's a service animal, and the service that he provides is assisting me in my disabilities that I received as a result of my time in the military. Because I don't want to talk to you about my disability, because he had already harassed, his staff had already harassed me about my disability. And they wanted to talk to me about it. And I had told them no. in a very kind way the first time, and second and third time. Fourth time.
OSHA is also a thing for civilians.
Right?
Like, you got to keep it confidential.
Yeah, man. None of your
sort of
business
thing.
is a thing.
If you're not my doctor, then
Yeah.
please walk away and don't ask any more questions.
Ask the questions
about
that
this
you're legally
particular
allowed.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I posted a bunch today about
You can ask me about my hair color because it's brown and some gray spots, but you can't ask me about my dog who's in training, which I don't take out often because she's in training.
But she's going to be out soon.
Yes.
And when she gets out there, it's going to be awesome. She's
Yes.
going to be great. And you're going to be able to hopefully glean from all of my negative experiences so that when you have them...
I've already had some,
Yeah.
but they're all right. It's okay.
I mean, people can just be so soft. I've posted about this already.
That's the meditative state, though.
There's a blog post coming about this lady. It was... I went to this place, and I had this conversation with these people.
Yeah.
I mean, did I send it to you already? I think I sent it to you.
Yes.
But it's going to come out soon, and it's super bad. Like,
It's atrocious.
yeah, she didn't mean to do it. She wasn't trying to be mean.
The audacity.
But she was oblivious. And then when the guy next to her says, and this is going to come out later, I don't want to, no spoiler alert here, but the guy says, yeah, how many people come up to him and try to pet him when they're not supposed to? How many people? And I was like, some people are just selfish. Some people just think of themselves more than anything else, and they do what they want. And the lady that made their first comment, she goes, "Oh wow, man, that's crazy. So did you bring him back from the military?" Talking about my dog. She thought I had Boris from the army. Yeah. Anyway. So.
Yeah, sometimes people get the wrong association with service. They think that it's like either a service animal, like the classic blind or handicap or disabled, which
or
we are
army.
disabled.
Yeah, and I'm wearing like an army vest or something.
Military service too. They're like, oh my goodness, he's bringing
a working
attack dog
yeah.
here.
And they asked me, does he bite? And I was like, sometimes.
Hey, don't tell little Anthony. He'll get his drugs taken from him in the parking lot.
I told him, I was like, yeah, sometimes.
No, not that kind of service animal.
Sometimes he does bite. It's true. Yeah. But not to people. Mostly to me when I'm kicking him in the skull.
Or me when I let him.
Okay, listen.
On the hand sometimes.
I think we should wrap it up here, guys. I've got to pee, and I don't want to talk anymore. So I think that you guys should go to BorisTheServiceDog.com or Veterans for Natural Rights. You should
check it out.
Find out more about what you can do to help the veterans in your area. There's people out there who are really hurting. Check it out.
Check it out.
Listen here, if you're on natural medicine, that's great. If you're on pharmaceuticals, okay. Let's find out what you can do. I dare you to Google some natural oppositions or comparables to your pharmaceuticals. Check them out. Look it up. I'm about to start looking into some colloidal silver as a replacement for my amoxicillin crap, because I've heard some exceptionally good things about colloidal silver, and I'm on all kinds of other natural hoodoo voodoo stuff. So you should be too. If you're on pharmaceuticals, you should be trying them at least. I appreciate you. I value you. You're a good person, people that you're listening. If you're a veteran and you're alone and you're listening to this right now, please know that we give a crap and that you're not. And please know that no matter how alone you feel as a result of what you're going through, that you're not alone, and that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Keep your eyes on the horizon and stay focused, and you'll do all right after the end of this thing here, this temporary thing. It doesn't seem temporary, and it seems that it's hopeless no matter what, but it's not. It's not, because you're not the first one to go through what you're going through, I promise. It sucks. It sucks no matter what, but it's going to get better. And you should take some medicine that's going to help you view things the right way. And you should do some physical activity like jiu-jitsu or talking or push-ups or something. And you should do it as often as you can, because it's going to change your life. I think both Nick and I can attest to the value of physical activity.
It's great. You should also go get some comedic relief and listen to some Tom Segura right after this.
Or Joe Rogan. Listen, no matter what your religious views are, if you can get over the fact that words are just sounds coming out of your mouth, if you can get over that, you need to go listen to some quality comedy. Something. I mean, if you want clean comedy, go check out Brian Regan. Go check out Jim Gaffigan. Go check out all kinds of stuff. There's clean comedy out there, guys. There's comedy without curse words in it. There's all kinds of good stuff. Unfortunately, Cosby had to go rape a bunch of girls, so he's kind of out of the question. But I do appreciate comedy that comes from that era. So, any Don Rickles, is amazing. He roasts people in the worst ways, in the most amazing ways. So go listen to some comedy, do some push-ups, and do it right now. Please visit BorisTheSerfStar.com or Veterans for Natural Rights. Please, thank you so much. Nick, you got any more words you want to say? Anything you want to add?
No, just please take care, folks, and reach out if you ever need some...
Do you eat your boogers, Nick?
No.
Why not?
That's really weird.
I mean, it's weird, but it's odd. I don't know. How many people in life do you think eat boogers?
I have no idea.
It's so crazy. I wonder. I mean, you ever think about that? Like, are there groups of people who pick their nose and eat their boogers? You think?
Yeah, children do it.
I mean, but what about adults? Do you think there's adults that do it?
Yes.
Secretly. Like, they're out there picking their nose right now, eating their boogers. You think?
Maybe not right now.
I mean, what about right now? I mean, why not right now?
Maybe, yeah.
Because Bill Burr talked about it. He does it all the time.
That's weird.
And he was on a podcast the other day talking to Joe Rogan about how they do it all the time. And how Tom Segura, like, rolls his boogers into balls and flicks them out the window at homeless people. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that's sensitive. I'm not saying you should do it, but I'm just saying eat your boogers, people. Just eat your boogers.
Anyways, yeah, take it easy.
Oh my God, you guys. Hey, listen, I appreciate you. You're awesome. If you could see the look on Nick's face, it would be much more valuable.
Your lovely audience.
Thank you, guys.